What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome to Maps Exposed. This is the series where I show you guys a bunch of great lines of sight, jump spots, as well as any other sort of secrets that I know of on every map in Cold War. And so far, it's looking like a lot of these maps have some incredible spots. I'm about to blow your mind with some of the spots in today's video, which, by the way, in today's episode, we're going to be covering Nuketown 84. And even though this is a remade map, there are a ton of things that have changed with this map when it comes to little details, little lines of sight and things. And let's just hop into it and start it off with the backyard of the greenhouse here. The first line of sight I've got for you is a great way to challenge the people that camp up in the windows. And that's a big part of this series, is showing spots to counter the really common camping spots. So with this one, all you have to do is come right back to this area right here, and you want to be right on the edge of these sandbags. This is great with a sniper rifle or an AR or LMG, just something that's really accurate. But you might notice here, you can actually see right up into that window, and it's kind of difficult if they're standing back a little bit or if they're crouched, unless you strafe up right on top of the edge of those sandbags, and then you get to see a pretty decent chunk of the window. And even if you just see part of the enemy there, you can just wallbang them through that really easily and pick them off. They'll have no clue what hit them when you snipe them from this spot. Next up, if you're approaching this backyard from this direction right here, and you have somebody that's just camping back in that spawn right there, and you manage to get yourself up in this position, a great way to challenge them is, again, using these sandbags to your advantage. Look at that. That's a great line of sight looking over top here. This only gives you a little bit of concealment. They can shoot through that really easily, but it's just much better than trying to challenge them right out in the open. Now, I realize some people will be concerned that this is a crazy spawn killing spot or something, but if you are pushed up this far, they shouldn't be spawning there anymore. So this is more so just to pick off that last guy that might be camping in the back of spawn. Now, on the opposite end of that situation, if you do spawn back here and you know the enemies have pushed up to this side of the map, instead of exposing your entire body to them and trying to challenge them in the open, instead, the better way to do it is to approach right through this lattice like this. Even if you end up shooting the lattice, it's not a big deal. You lose very little bullet damage here, and you're just much harder to pick out through this, and they often won't catch you until it's too late. They'll be pre-aiming over here, looking at this area. They won't notice you right there, and then you can just light them up. Another great way to challenge anybody that's in the backyard there is, instead of exposing your entire body in this doorway, all you have to do is hop up on top of this car, and there's a great line of sight right through the windows here. You can spray through that. You lose very little bullet damage while doing that, and you can just light people up. Super easy kills. I wouldn't overstay your welcome here, though, because once they realize you're there, they can just shoot through this garage door really easily, and they'll take you out fairly quickly. Next up, I have a very well-known spot, but I did want to share it with you guys right here, and this is, if you come up on this railing and strafe all the way over to the edge here, you do get a nice line of sight, not only on that back alley lane right there, you also get a line of sight partially on the B Domination flag here, which can be great. Again, this is a fairly well-known spot, but make sure you're keeping an eye out for snipers that might be chilling up here, and you may want to use this from time to time to defend that B flag. Now, moving into the front of the greenhouse here, most people, especially people that have played Nuketown before, they're aware that you can mantle up like this and get into the window that way, and that's great and everything, but there's a couple other options that we have. First up, no need to wait for the double mantle here. All you have to do is run directly up to this post right here, jump, and there you go. You can mantle straight up. That'll just save you a little bit of time getting up to that window. And then another thing you can do, if you want to get up to this side here, you can't quite make this jump right here. You could try to jump on top of this mannequin's head and then go from there. Or another option is jumping directly onto the sign here, and then from here you can jump across and get into that window. Another thing you can do with this sign, this is more for like a really specific 1v1 type of situation, is if you have an enemy that's camping up in that window, what you can do is hop up onto this sign real quick. They won't be able to see you while you're standing like this, but once you jump onto the head here, that gives you a great line of sight on that window. And this is just one of those things where they might not expect it, and therefore it might take them a little while to react, and by the time they react, you'll be able to pick them off. Next up, I have a spot for you that I don't believe is intended, and this might get patched in the future, but I wanted to show it to you anyway, just because it is a harmless sort of glitch, I find. But if you come up to this particular corner of the bus, and you jump, and you just manage to catch your jump just right, you can actually mantle right up on top. You can't move around at all while you're up here, but this gives you an incredible line of sight on that position right there, which is a really common position for people to be standing in. It's actually a spawn point as well. But a lot of people, especially in Domination, what they'll do is pin themselves in this corner like this, and that gives them a great line of sight on the B flag, and they can defend the B flag from here. When you get up on top of that bus, you might be able to catch them if they end up strafing a little too far out this way. You'll be able to see over top here and pick them off. Now, a little thing I wanted to point out mid-map here is you can actually see between this crack right here into the garage, and you can see enemy players that are running by and stuff. Unfortunately, you can't shoot through this, though. It completely blocks all bullet damage, but you could use that as a check spot, for instance. Like, there is a search and destroy bomb in that garage. You might be able to get a bomb angle on that, but again, you can't shoot through it. You can only see through it. Now, another thing you can do, if the enemies are currently capturing the B flag in Domination, for instance, and you happen to be in this side of the map, what you can do is jump up on top of this chair like this, and that just gives you a bit of a different line of sight to look at the B flag. It's not that great. It's just one of those situations where instead of running out and exposing your whole body, you may as well give it a shot. Just quickly pop up here, see if you can pick off a kill, and then move on. And we actually see pretty much the reverse of that on the other side of the map as well. If you jump up on the tires like this, it does give you a nice line of sight to where the B Domination flag is. Also, right up in this area here, something that is different, as far as I'm aware, at least for Nuketown this time around, is this fence is quite low. And what that means is if you wedge yourself in this corner like this and then just back off just the right amount, you get a nice line of sight on that window. And this is a straight up head glitch. All they can see here is like the tip of your forehead, which means you actually have a pretty decent advantage against these people. However, if they do see you, this isn't proper cover. This is just concealment. They will light you up through that fence, no problem. Next up, a great line of sight if you are spawning in the backyard area of the yellow house. Sometimes you'll get enemies that sort of camp up in this area right here, and they'll just pick you off as you run out of the house, or as you run out through that area there, they'll pick you off. A great way to take these people out is from all the way back in the backyard here. If we come up on the balcony, all you have to do is hop up under the railing here, and then from this area right here, if you strafe over, you actually get a nice little line of sight on the people that'll be standing right in that spot there. Unfortunately, you can't go far enough over to get an angle on the Jeep, but at least that spot is great when you do have somebody that's camping right in this spot here. As for the next spot I wanted to show you, this is for search and destroy only, because we need this bomb site inside the garage of the yellow house. And when this bomb site is here, what you can do, especially right off the beginning, is hop up on top of it and look at that. What an incredible line of sight onto that lane where all the snipers like to go. And if you're quick on the draw here and they don't know about this spot, they won't stand a chance against you. However, I will say this is something that snipers are going to pick up on fairly quickly, and they will start to learn to pre-aim this spot, so just be aware of that. Next up, I wanted to show you guys something that might get you reported, but shouldn't be a problem because you're not going to be technically wall hacking. If you want to challenge the people that are in the other window from this window right here, instead of showing your body to them, why not just come all the way over here behind this bed, wedge yourself in this corner, and then you want to aim right around this area here at eye level. If you spray through there with an LMG or something, you get some hit markers, keep spraying, you've got yourself a nice easy kill on the person on the other window. They'll have no idea what hit them. Now let's keep things fair and balanced. If you have enemies in the opposite window over here, what you can do is wedge yourself into this corner next to this end table, and then you want to be spraying generally around this area right here until you get some hit markers, and then again, you just have to sort of follow the hit markers. I was aiming a little bit high in that situation, but if you're aiming a little bit lower, if you just keep spraying through there with an LMG, you'll pick those people off, and again, they won't have a clue what hit them. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for the first episode of Maps Exposed for Cold War. I'm curious to hear from you guys in the comment section below. How many of the spots that I shared today were you unaware of before you watched this video? Additionally, this series is going to be guided by you guys. Which map would you like me to cover next for this series? The one that I see popping up the most in the comment section, that's the one that I'll end up doing for the next episode. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.